All right, let's do it live on a Reaction Monday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am Merely Bowe. He is the great Z. 31 Titans, 29 Browns. It's really two different ways of talking about the game, I think, and we can talk about, we're going to have plenty of time here. The Hoff will join us at 4 o'clock. We'll get into all of it. You'll hear from Coach Stefanski. There's two things to look at. Some of the things that resulted in the loss are obviously negative things that have been continuing to be a problem all season long. But I do think that the headliner, and I'm in a relatively good mood on a Monday, is the play of the quarterback. And Shadur Sanders, week to week to week, has gotten better and better and better. And what he was when he was thrust into action with the injury to Dillon all that time ago to what he is now are two completely different things. It's remarkable to watch what he just picks up week to week. Now, it's been early. There's some stuff you want back. You can't just throw it into the middle of the field, obviously, and on a second down that leads to an interception. But as we have said, and folks, if you go back to January and February when Z did the breakdown, he is one of the best natural throwers of the football. He was one of the best natural throwers of the football in this draft, probably the best natural thrower of the football in this draft. We talked about it in July and August, his ability to layer throws in coverage, his touch on the deep and intermediate balls. They're all elite. All of those things are elite. And so you don't get the result that you want. There's a million things to pick apart. But I do think when we go back to the shows that we had last week, and I asked you and Hoff, and I said, well, what do you need to see? What do you want to be accomplished here the last month? Because you know you're not making the postseason. And all we need to know, what's the most critical thing to know, is the same thing that was critical to know in July. Do we have an answer at quarterback?
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. And, Shadur was a guy that, based on the tape alone, I wanted to take him at 2. That was well documented. Go back and listen to any of it. Now, I didn't know all the other things that led to him, falling a little bit in the draft. But what I do know is you got a guy here who can absolutely make any throw and who's getting better week to week. After the Ravens game, it was like, all right, we can't be running out of the back of the pocket and taking those bad sacks. Guess what? He's pretty much eliminated that. Coming off of that Niners game, it was, we need you to be able to rip the ball more into the middle of the field, be confident when it's there in the middle of the field. Well, in the middle of the field in this game, in the middle of the field, intermediate, I'm sorry, not depth, I want the middle. He goes 3 for 3 for 61 at the line of scrimmage, 8 for 11 for 102 with a 101.3 rating from 0 to 9 yards in the air, and from 10 to 19 in the air, he goes 3 of 5 for 97 and a touchdown and a rating of 143.8. So they really wanted him to focus on that, and he did that. And what you're seeing is a kid that works really, really hard, because he clearly does, because he is able to take something each week that's kind of like the point of emphasis and then take it to the field. And this is a Titans team. This wasn't a slouch defense. This was not like this was a bottom of the league defense at all. And they have good pass rush. Mm-hmm. He was under pressure on 64% of his dropbacks. One of the things I always talk about is when you know a quarterback's making progress, it's what do they do from clean pockets. Yeah. Now he handled the blitz and he handled their pressure well. He handled the blitz well. But when he was kept clean in this game, 11 of 15, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, yards per attempt of 11.4 and a rating of 150.3. He's making big-time throws. Yep. He is working, as I said, the middle of the field effectively. From 10 to 19, that's where quarterbacks, really kind of stand out. He goes 13.4 yards an attempt, 140 rating. I was very impressed by him. I came out of this game thinking that, obviously wanted to win it badly. But if you weren't going to win and you could come out of a game with this type of a performance, it's awesome. So we said at the beginning of the year, right, that this is a lottery ticket. And I'm thinking of a lottery ticket. I'm thinking of a scratch-off where you got to get 3 of a kind.
I like it, yeah.
I feel like we've got 2 of them scratched off, and now we scratch the upper left corner of the third, and it looks like it could be there. It looks like, man, that's kind of the same pattern as those other 2.
Oh, baby.
But
yep.
We're not going to be able to scratch it off till we see, I think, the final 4. And if he plays well, you're talking about a Chicago team that's going to be coming off of a loss in Lambeau that's fighting for their playoff lives. They went from the 1 to the 7.
Yep.
By losing that game. You're talking about a Bills team that's going to be fighting for its playoff life and a Steelers team fighting for its playoff life. Those next 3 games, if he can continue to improve, and there are going to be mistakes. Look, he tried to do too much on that interception, no question.
Yeah.
But his ball placement, his recognition, I thought the quickness of the decisions that he made were significantly better, and I thought he played well. I mean, listen, what I'm about to say right now, I'm going to just facts. This is only the second rookie quarterback game since 1970 with 350 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown in a single game. It's only one other time. Joe Burrow, week 7 for Cincinnati against us. That was the bake to Donovan Peoples-Jones walk-off. He also lost that game, which is ironic. He's the only quarterback in 2025 to lose a game in which he had 350, 4 touchdowns, and fewer than 2 interceptions. He also became the first Browns quarterback to ever do this. 350 pass yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown a game. And he joined Aaron Rodgers as the only other quarterback since the year 2000 to have 4 completions of more than 50 yards in their first 3 career starts.
That is the biggest differentiator. And he's, in this sense, he plays it much more similarly to the way that Flacco and Jameis played it than the way that Dylan played it. He wants to take shots, and his eyes are downfield, and if you don't give up on routes, and we were early in the season, we had a couple guys give up on routes, and it's like, oh, no, he's throwing it. Like, it opens the field up. Now, we weren't able to run it worth a lick yesterday as we were pretty much stuck.
I'm starting to be that's a big problem.
Yeah, it is. Let's stay positive, though.
No. So what I think
but his ability to keep plays alive, buy time in the pocket, and then his willingness to rip it deep is, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. And I just think, like, where he's come from that last preseason game to where he was in September and October to where he was in his very first action after Dylan went down to where he was in his first 2 starts to now, every single time he gets on the field, it's a little bit better. But it took him getting to that point and being able to do it. And now he's there. And now Kevin today, and we'll have the full presser for you here in a second, Kevin today saying he's the starting quarterback for the rest of the way. And this goes back to a conversation that we had all the way back in July, that at the time it was Pickett until you'd seen enough, and then it was Gabriel until you'd seen enough, and then it was Sanders until you'd seen enough. And the reality is that we want to see more of 12.
Well, he was the one guy that we thought, even if you go, again, that had the upside to be that guy.
Yes.
He had the upside to be that guy. Now, if you remember the Steelers game, Dylan Gabriel got hit 17 times in that game, and that was the most a quarterback had gotten hit in the season. Shore got hit 14 times yesterday. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, this is what impressed me maybe more than anything. You go back and look at some of the big-time throws, the one to Fannin up the right sideline, the touchdown to Judy, some of the other big throws that he made in this game. He is willing to stare down the barrel. That was something I went back and looked at my notes, and I said that in my notes from Colorado. He will stare down the barrel and throw the football knowing he's going to get creamed. And he did it and was still able to make some great throws. I thought, and I like Cam Ward, I thought he looked every bit as good. I actually thought he looked better than Cam Ward in this game. Now, Cam Ward has a worse supporting cast, significantly so.
Yeah.
And he made some big-time throws in this game as well. But it certainly looked like, and let's not forget, Cam Ward started the whole season.
Yeah.
You know, Shadur has made such strides. And this was one where, like, at the end, he kind of had to let it rip, and he leads a touchdown drive for you, a 60-yard drive, followed by an 80-yard drive to get you to within 8, and then, unfortunately, we didn't get those 2-point conversions. But he did everything you needed him to do in this game, and the interception was bad. It led directly to points for them. But he was certainly a bigger piece of potentially winning this football game than he was not. He should have gotten a win here. He deserved a win here. It was an uncharacteristic defensive performance, especially on the ground. The run defense was stunning. And then special teams, again, had a couple of catastrophic plays that.
I mean, their very first possession started at the 50.
Well, yeah,
on
they're
the
best returner in the league.
And he brings it all.
I thought we were going to kick it out of the end zone the whole game, and we kick it right to him. And then we kick it out of the end zone the rest of the game, which fine, give him the ball to 35.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean,
it's funny you're talking about him staring down the barrel. I remember all the conversations we had about him in January and February about his toughness and about how he never blamed teammates, how he always got up. And I remember us talking about how their offensive line at Colorado was weak, and at best they were disinterested in running the football. At best, disinterested. We're not disinterested in running the football. We're just ineffective at it right now. But at the same time, it's very similar. Like that game yesterday was very similar to a lot of the games he played at Colorado. And that I watched him play a lot at Colorado. And what he did was he bought time. He kept his eyes downfield. He loves to redirect routes and point in directions, go to the open space. If our receivers get into the habit of – now you got to do stuff on – you're going to have to do stuff on schedule to win in this league.
Yeah, but that's his clean pocket numbers.
That's his clean pocket. That's where that is.
Yeah, those were
and the rest of
elites.
it is him pushing people and making plays downfield. He keeps his eyes up.
Yep.
He doesn't panic when it's not there right away. He keeps his eyes up. He buys time. It's so incredible how he went from – he had this habit of just retreating from the pocket. Now he's climbing the pocket.
Yes.
Like he's come a long way in a month, man. A long way.
Yes.
Really cool to see.
I'm looking at my notes from, Nebraska was not one of his better games, but just the toughness, the willingness to stand in there. And I have that on so many of these from the various games that I watched. But basically I just was like, tough, we'll hang in the pocket, take hits and deliver the football. Note just kept popping up as well. And it was really just, that's what you saw right there. Listen, this league is about one thing, and for the most part, it's about one thing only. You've got to have a quarterback. And right now what you've got is hope. You've got hope that Shadur Sanders, who is now going to be your quarterback for the rest of the season, who needed time to develop, got that time, put in extra work with Stefanski. Stefanski put in extra work with him. He's worked so hard, and now here he goes, and now he's going to be the star of the rest of the way against 4 teams. Now the Bengals probably are out of it, I would imagine, by the time we get there.
Yeah.
But next 3 is, okay, show it. Like, to me, if he wins one of those 3 games, even if we don't end up winning, because in this game we lost,
don't even
it's not
care
his
about
fault.
I mean, of course,
but
this is me talking
if he
about,
keeps playing well over the next 3 games in particular, even if it's 2 good, 1 bad, I'm going into next year with him because we have such needs at wide receiver and tackle that those draft picks are very valuable to us.
Yes.
And so I don't want to be in a situation where we're going to have to spend multiple ones again on the upside's there. Everybody can see it.
There's no doubt it is. And like this is just me talking, obviously the organization, you want to win every game you play. I am not that concerned about wins and losses right now. Now, I wasn't at the stadium, and I didn't pay my money, and I didn't sit in the cold, and I didn't do all of that stuff because those folks want wins and losses. They want wins, and we'll get into why the wins didn't occur in a second because we're having glasses half full conversation right now. But to me, all that matters in the next 3 especially is if he plays well, that's all that matters to me. And I hope Miles gets a sack record, and of course I want us to win, but at the same time, if he plays well and keeps making these type of improvements, then you get to a point where you can do what you just said, and that is a lottery ticket as big as you can win. Use your analogy. That's the full scratch-off, pay it in, give me my money, and now we don't have to address quarterback in the offseason. That's a home run.
By the way, and he took the natural progression that a 5th-round pick would take through this thing.
Yeah.
He did. Imagine, though, what he's been able to do. We've seen him be able to do in a few weeks when next year, hopefully, right, everything is catered to him and everything is set up for him, and he's getting every single rep in the offseason, every single rep in training camp to be the guy.
Yeah.
And I like his upside. And what he's shown, and you talk to anybody in this building, what he's shown is his commitment to getting better and his work ethic towards it. It's one thing to talk about it. He does it, and that's why you're seeing him have this success. He's got unbelievable natural talent. I mean, I was just looking right now, again, at the notes, like, arm, certainly good enough. And I said that he can make every NFL throw, and people act like he didn't have an arm. He can. Now, a thing that you'd say is, okay, sometimes on these throws over the middle, like, you still got to get it in there.
Yeah.
Some of those, there was one that was a little bit, he threw it a little nonchalant. Their linebacker broke it up. It's a little dangerous, and there was one that he must not have seen Simmons, and he just kind of put it out there, and Simmons almost one hand pawed it right out of the sky. But That's okay. He's not supposed to be perfect right now. What you're talking about is, does he have the ability to make the throws to every level of the field? Does he have the ability to understand what he's seeing? Does he have the ability to make plays in and out of structure? And right now, the answer is yes. You want to see more of it. You want to see consistency with it. You want it to be something you can rely on week in and week out. But I'll tell you what, this was, from a Browns standpoint, this was a very positive outcome. There are things that were not positive, and we kind of hinted at some of them, and we'll get there. But at the end of the day, this is a very positive outcome because I feel, significantly closer to being able to say, you know what, maybe we've got this quarterback. And guess what? He'll be on a fifth-round contract for 3 more years. That gives you like a serious window, especially starting in 27, as we're able to get some more space, like to put a super team with him.
It's a lottery. It's winning it's Purdy.
Yes.
I mean, that's what it allows you to do. It allows you to buttress everything else. And we have some buttressing that needs to take place. All right, that was the glasses half full. Shadur played mostly great in this game. The defense did not, and this is a defense that's carried this offense all season long, gave up a career-best 161 yards to Tony Pollard, 2 long touchdown runs, a gash of 65, a gash of 32. The Titans came into this week ranked 31st in rushing offense in terms of yards per game. The Browns defense allowed 184, single worst run defense of the season. Week 11 loss to the Ravens. They also allowed 184. We'll get to special teams in a second. What did you make of, especially in the third quarter, just Tennessee's ability to go up and down the field?
Well, it was tough. And, even for us, like, we had a little bit of a lull in that third quarter, and that's something that, we have to keep trying to figure out here. That, you can't be – look, we scored plenty of points in this game.
Plenty to win.
Enough to win, especially against Tennessee, who had not scored. Tennessee, every other game, if you had scored 29, you win.
Yep.
They hadn't scored that many. This was their most points of the year. Malik Collins was out. I don't know how much of an impact that had. They seemed to do some running that took advantage of like our aggressiveness up the field and was creating kind of big voids as a result of that. Pollard's long run on the season was 21 yards. It was his long run on the season. And he had a touchdown run in the 60s and another one that was almost 40. I mean, it just wasn't, unfortunately, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. We did a better job on third down offensively. We did a better job. We averaged 6.4 yards a play. Like, everything about what we did offensively was winning football. I mean, everything about it. We got gashed a little bit on the ground. They give 5.3 yards a carry, which is a stunner. It's a stunner. They hadn't scored on an opening drive in 15 straight games, had the Titans. And they scored on the opening drive. We gave up, those runs. We gave a couple of third down conversions early. I think they started the game 3 of 4. Now they ended it 6 of 17, which was much more in line with what we've been doing. But I don't know how we gave up that many points. I mean, we had they had a stretch in the second half where they scored 17 points on 3 possessions that totaled 50 yards. Just over 50 yards.
So that's the interception.
By Shadur. And then they go, 2 plays, 38 yards, touchdown, the long run. Then they go 3 plays, 8 yards after the Dylan Sampson fumble, and they get a touchdown. And then they go 4 plays, 6 yards, and get a field goal after the block punt. And I know we're going to talk about the 2-pointers and all of those things, and all the things that can be debated there. You're not even thinking about those. Those aren't even relevant if you don't have a blocked punt that leads directly to 3 points. Another special teams, just massive, massive miscue. And that guy could have sat down, had a bowl of ramen, and then still blocked the punt. He was just he had to slow down to not overrun it. He was in there so quick because he was unblocked. So that's frustrating because then all the stuff that now is the big debate is the 2-point conversions and why did we do that? And Gibbe hates it amongst a great many other people. And why wasn't Shadur on the field for the last 2-point conversion, which is a fair question, as hot as he was leading the team down. It's a fair question. You watch the All-22 and you know that if Quinshawn had getting that ball into the hands of Gage Larvidan as it was designed.
So we'd never run the reverse off of the Wildcat.
Not
so
yet.
that's why they were going to do it.
Yep.
Is we'd run the Wildcat a bunch of times. It'd been wildly successful for us.
Yep.
Kevin didn't say this. This is me saying it. But
Yep.
I mean, that's just what's happened. We'd run it a bunch.
This was going to be the one.
This was the one time we're going to
pivot.
counter off of it. We're going to pivot off of it because we'd never even shown it. And if you watch on the Ultimate, there's nobody over there.
Nope.
And now, if you want to be critical of a rookie going to in Larvidan and everybody who was involved in it, I guess.
No, and
but
he's
this
not
far
gonna-
into the season, Kevin's not going to bury anybody. He's not going to bury a player.
Quinshon.
He's not going to bury Quinshon. And so, he took it because that's his job as a head coach to do it. But that was the thinking behind it.
Yeah.
On the 14-point thing.
Yeah. Don't shoot the messenger. Everybody gets so emotional about this. Okay, every team in the NFL, Ravens, Eagles, who have a very good analytics department, they're the reigning Super Bowl champions. They all do it. I mean,
The whole
it's just-
league does
it's
it,
done.
honestly. And the reason that you do it is because then you can win the football game. And we saw the Denver Broncos. This happened earlier in the season. The Broncos won a football game doing this. If you get that 2-pointer, then you win it with an extra point, and it's over. That's the thinking behind it. And then and by the way, you haven't lost if you don't get it. If you're going to go for it twice, if you have to, you can go for it twice. So even if you don't get the first one, you still have to get the second one. The odds are you're going to get one of them because what's the 2-point conversion rate in the league?
I'm over 50%.
Over 50. So that's the point.
Again, this is just the theory behind it. Okay, and I'm going to use these aren't actual numbers, but this is directionally correct. So let's say when you score the touchdown, you're now down 8. The second you score that touchdown, let's say at that point you have a 40% win probability. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you kick the extra point, let's say that goes up to 45 or 50%. Okay. This is just, and you're down. And so these numbers are not right, but this is just the directional. You miss it, you stay at 40 because you go for 2 and don't get it because that's where you're at prior to that.
Right.
But if you get it, your win probability jumps up much more than the win probability goes down from not getting it.
Yeah. It's the
And
risk
that's why
reward.
they do it. Because if you
I know
do
that's
hit
tomorrow.
this, that is now you have a significant, let's call it 65%, right? So your probabilities jump up significantly. So it's a small risk in terms of win probability negative for a big gain in win probability. Now, again, games aren't played on computers. These are just models. I understand all of that, and I get why people are emotional about it. This isn't the same as being down 15 and going for the 2 first, which, again, I understand because you want the information as quickly as possible, but I think there is just a human effect when you fail that because now it's a 2-possession game. That's not the case in this one.
No, it's still 1.
It's still 1. And by the way, had you gotten the first one, now you're going down and you're kicking an extra point. We did it against the Giants last year. We didn't go on to win that game, but we did it against the Giants and got it and put ourselves in that position. Nobody had a problem with it. If we convert the first one, we fumbled that snap. We didn't even get to see that play. And then the other one, we unfortunately botched them. You could say, look, we're the better team. Let's just go to overtime. The longer this game goes on, we're the better team. We should be, right? I get all of it. It's unfortunate that this is the way it played out. Again, that's the logic behind it. I know people who don't like it. I know plenty of people who don't like it and don't agree with it. I get it.
I really don't have a problem with it.
I don't either.
At 14, I don't. I just think that
sense.
So anybody who's kicking the extra points, if you're just kicking the extra points,
And those aren't 100%.
they aren't. But if you are, asked Ohio State, but if you are kicking extra points, and that's all you're doing, you're just playing for a tie.
Yep.
And so if you just want to play for a tie, the odds are you're going to get one of the 2-point conversions.
Yes, in this case it was.
In this case, we didn't, but normal circumstance would say that you would get one of them.
Yes.
We didn't execute correctly on either of them.
No.
And so it wasn't able to come to fruition. But if you're just playing to tie anyway, then what's the difference?
Right. To me, going for the 2 initially, again, I understand why people don't like it.
I get it.
I also understand the logic behind it and what you're trying to accomplish with it. I think the better question is, okay, yeah, we've done this Wildcat. We're setting it up for this moment to run this play off of it. But Shadur's so hot, he's led you down the team. Should he be on the field? That's kind of the better question. The play, people like, oh, did you ever even run that in practice?
Jeez, come on.
I'm going to tell you something. Every week, you have maybe 2, maybe 3 2-point plays that you have in that are in for that week. Because how often does it come up? Not all that often, but you have 2 or 3 in for that week. They're run every Friday. That play was run on Friday. Obviously, it worked on Friday. Like, these are they knew going down. I guarantee they knew that was going to be the play that they were calling. Now, you can debate whether or not you agree with that play call, and obviously the execution of it was poor. I think what this is my interpretation of it. This is not from no scores. I think Quinshon was reading the corner, because if the corner had run with Gage, he probably could have kept it. And if the corner stayed, I think it was supposed to go to Gage. This is not no inside. This is just when I looked at the play, what seemed to be happening. And his eyes were on that corner too long. So by the time he was like, oh, he didn't go, he went to kind of, you could see on his face almost like
oh no.
Oh no. And now Gage is like 5 yards past him, and then it's a debacle. So super frustrating in the moment. I think anybody who watches, and I know there have been plenty of posts on here of the all 22 of it, if he gave the ball to Gage, Gabe actually has options on that play, but those options would look like they would have resulted in a conversion. It didn't. It was not executed. It was not executed well. And by the way, if we got one of those 2-point conversions, nobody cares anyway.
No.
And if we'd gotten the first one and then kicked the extra point there and we win by one, people would say it was genius.
Yep.
The outcomes matter, though, because this is a binary business.
Yep.
And so, you're not supposed to let outcomes. I always give the casino analogy. It is the right thing to double down with an 11 against a dealer showing 6. It's not a guarantee of win. And then they still take your money. It's not like, I made the right play.
Ask Favreau and Swingers.
Yeah, they still take it.
You always double down on 11, baby. But not in this instance. No, baby. Always. You always double down on 11.
Always. So it's
hit the Bamboo Lounge, get some breakfast, and head back to an Airstream.
It's a bummer, but I take away from this, number one, Shadur looks like he could be the answer that we have needed for a very, very long time. Number two, Harold Fannin is a real deal dude.
Yeah, he's
over 100 yards. He's had the best rookie season by a Browns tight end ever. He just passed Ozzie Smith for the most receiving yards in a season by a Browns rookie tight end. So he's a real dude. You've got dudes all over the place on defense, which is great to see. And then, Miles gets sacked 20 and 3 more tackles for a loss. So now he's got 20. Now, that one could have gone a half and a half, but he gets the whole.
Yep.
He's at 20. Now he's at 31 on the tackles for loss. So he has a chance to set both records.
Yeah. He has a chance to have the best season by a defensive player ever.
That's
in play.
Since we've
tracked
such things.
Yeah. With all respect to Deacon Jones. This is the big thing to me. It appears that you have 4 lock, stock, NFL studs, borderline Pro Bowl type players. Mason Graham feels like he can get there. Carson Schwarzenegger's already there. Harold Fannin looks like he's going to get there. And Quinshon Judkins looks like he's a Pro Bowl type level player.
Like, we got to help.
4.
We have got to help him out.
We do. We're not giving him a lot of help right now.
He is in.
But you see what happens if you just give him
get him to the line of scrimmage.
Any line of scrimmage to break through. So you have 4. And then potentially 5,
which is
with Shadur, which is the big one, and that's a differentiator. But those are when I think about what the games that Fannin's been having, especially the one he had yesterday, the season Schwarzenegger's been having.
Yep.
Graham's continued growth. Quinshon has been there all year.
Yep.
Stud, and now the Shadur part of it. That's what allows for a much brighter future. And while this is not fun, and it's not. But there are some young pieces here in this draft, these rookies who are on their way and have been really good players all season for us. Some couple of injury updates for you. Center Ethan Posick tore his Achilles. That sucks. He's out for the rest of the season. No updates on Denzel or Chief Conklin still in concussion protocol. Wyatt Teller will remain out this week for the game in Chicago. So there's where you stand on all of that. Those are your hot topics of the day, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. We'll head to the podium coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place your first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet is official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time now to head to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here's your head coach, Kevin Stefanski.
All right, injury front.
You're done.
Posick will be out for the season. He's getting surgery. He tore his Achilles. So obviously feeling for Ethan. He's a huge part of our team, of our offense. We've relied heavily on him, having a veteran center in there. So disappointed for him, but I know he will bounce back. He's got the right attitude, as you guys would imagine, but disappointed for Ethan. Obviously, that game doesn't go our way, and just trying to talk through it with the team this morning on the things that the reasons for that, and the things that we can do better, the things that we have to do better as a football team, offense, defense, special teams, player coaches, things that we have to improve upon in games like that. So it's frustrating. We got to learn from it, and then we'll move on to Chicago. With that, I'll take any questions.
Yeah, Kevin, just wondering, is Shadur Sanders your starter now for the rest of the season?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your thinking behind that?
I think all along, Mary Kay, as you know, with our quarterbacks and our young players, you're always making sure that you're making the right decisions for our guys. And I think he has constantly and consistently gotten better in each one of these games and how he's approached this game. He's been working very hard. So I feel good about where his development is heading. He knows there are always going to be plays that he can be better and those type of things. But he's very intentional about getting better each and every game he's out there.
Has anything surprised you about his development over these past 3 starts?
No, I don't know. Surprise is the word, Mary Kay. I think, again, we've been around each other now going back to April. So I've seen constant improvement in a bunch of areas, but I also saw in that game some areas of improvement in some areas that we asked him to improve upon. And I think that's, the fun part of coaching is developing players and giving them tools to improve in certain areas, if you will. And I think the fun part is when you have players like Shadur, like our rookies, whomever it may be, that are very intentional about their own development as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kevin, I wanted to ask about the 2-point conversion philosophy. I know that you guys use the probabilities and all those type of things when making those particular decisions about going for 2. I guess my question is, you guys have been doing this for a long time, and the wins and losses don't seem to be equating that. My question is, how much of game flow and that factor in, and can they outweigh just the probabilities of, hey, you're down 14, you just scored, go ahead and go for 2, so it informs you whether or not you should kick 1 or 2 on that second touchdown. I'm trying to understand the process and the philosophy there with going for 2 with that first touchdown scored when you're down 14.
Yeah, well, I think you understand the philosophy behind it. I think I have to go into every game understanding our team, their team, the matchups, the plays that we have available to us. Do we like them? Do we not? Those are the type of decisions that factor into the game. Obviously, you take all that information in, Daryl, as you know, in all your decisions that you make. But ultimately, you're making decisions based on the game that you're playing and what's in.
And then just a question about Shadur and just his progress, similar to what Mary Kay was asking. The fact that he put up 4 touchdowns in just his third start versus what he did in that first start at Las Vegas, just how pleasantly surprised are you with his progression in such a short timeline, considering maybe how far he might have been behind in training camp and maybe the first quarter of the season?
Yeah, again, not maybe the terms I'd use other than tell you I've been really impressed by his work ethic, and that's going back to since the moment he got here. That's what we've been striving to work with him and with all of our guys. As you know, it's been a huge area for us is player development of all of our players, and I think the guys, when they embrace it, that's the fun part where you get to see these guys making strides. So he's still very early into his career, and he would tell you the same. You want to have constant improvement in everything you're doing. There's moments in these games that come up that are hard to replicate in practice. You can talk through them on tape. You can talk through them in a walkthrough, and then you get the rep in a game, and that's the most valuable learning tool you can have. And I think he will only take all of that and use that to his development moving forward.
Hey, Kevin, couple other injury questions. Do you have an update on Denzel and David coming out of the game?
Yeah, no update other than to say we'll see how they are come Wednesday.
Jack still in the protocol?
Yes.
Wyatt out this week?
Yes.
Okay. And then after, with time to reflect on it, the idea of going with the hot hand with Shadur on that last 2-point conversion, do you have any second thoughts about it? I understand, why he went to the Wildcat, but the fact that he'd been playing so well, does that make you think twice about it?
Well, listen, when you come up short like you do, you think about everything and what you could do differently. Obviously, when you get in those moments, you have the calls ready to roll and plays that you've talked about pre-game and throughout the week. There are going to be times where you want to call back. There will be times where you have success and it didn't come off exactly how you wanted it. But bottom line is, we came up short in both those tries, and that's where I have to look at it and say, are there things that we can do better? And that's my job to look at it constantly.
Hey, Kevin, I wanted to ask you about with Ethan out. I'm assuming Luke will be the starter against Chicago.
Yes.
Is there some benefit, at least in the transition, that Shadur has worked a lot with Luke over the course of the offseason and everything, in terms of that connection between the quarterback and center?
Yeah, I understand the question potentially, but I think those guys all work really well together. Throughout this offseason, Chris, they've all kind of gotten reps with different guys. So I think Luke's somebody that, when you're playing that position, the center position, we put a lot on your plate. And when you're working with Poe and your Poe's backup, you really have to lock in and understand all that. And Luke has worked very hard. So he's done a nice job of making sure he's ready to roll in any instance that we may need him. And I think he'll be ready to roll in this one.
One last question then on Shadur and just his pocket presence and, how, one of the issues it seemed like he had early on was drifting a lot, and drifting backwards. It seems like he's doing a better job, more consistent job of staying within the pocket, getting out obviously when he needs to, but just how have you seen him grow in that regard in his game?
Yeah, that's definitely been a area of focus for him that I think he continues to improve. I think there were multiple plays in that game where there was really good evidence of really good footwork that you can coach off of, that you want to, point out that this is exactly drill work. This is what you're working on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's showing up here on Sunday.
Kevin, hi. Was it a mistake not to start Shadur earlier?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into those type of things, Tony. I'm obviously focused on what's in front of us.
About the second 2-point conversion, Batonio said after the game, you guys were repping that play back in Philadelphia. I remember seeing it myself. But the fact is, Judkins was not with you in Philadelphia. So did he get reps Friday on that play?
He did.
How'd he do?
We ran the play. So, Tony, bottom line is it's we'll always look at things that we can do better, but I trust our guys. We work hard during the week to rep plays that we may play, that you may show in the game. But that was not the issue there.
Hey, Kevin, I had a question about the first 2-point conversion attempt. So I guess following up on what Chris was asking, was there an issue with the snap with Luke being in at that point and Ethan having come out? And was there any confusion just on the snap itself?
Yeah, no confusion in the snap. Obviously, center quarterback exchanges, you don't want them to show up in a game like that. Those guys have had plenty of reps together, that you get reps before and after a series, those type of things. So that was unfortunate for that to happen at that moment.
And then when the ball came out, it looked like kind of like multiple guys on both teams just standing around for a second or two. was there just confusion on
Yeah, it
on what
appeared.
happened, like the rules, or what do you think
No,
happened?
we actually just watched a play on Friday from the Miami-New Orleans game where there was an interception that went back on a 2-point play, which is a pick two. You get 2 points for it. So we just looked at that. It appeared to me like we touched him down. Now, we didn't look at it any closer because the result was what it was. But the guys know the rules there.
Hey, Kevin, I have two questions. 2 years ago, your special teams were really good. Why do you think there have been so many issues this year?
Yeah, it's something that we look at really week to week, Jeff, on things that we can improve upon. Obviously, disappointed in yesterday and some of the things that happened yesterday that can't happen, but that's something we look at every week.
And then your defense has been so good against the run. What happened there yesterday?
Yeah, like you said, we've been very good in that area. It was uncharacteristic for us. We'll get back to work.
Hey, Kevin, kind of off of that run stop and defense question. Obviously, your first game without Malik Collins, was any of that felt? Maybe the loss of him and trying to, as you said, you can't replace him. You just have to have guys step up for him. Maybe the ramping up and getting them used to that kind of role.
Cam, obviously Malik's a big part of who we are and our success and our, our culture and all those things. So of course you're going to miss him, but we expect the guys that are in there to do their duty.
And sticking on the defense, Alex Wright, McGuire able to go in that one. Did you see them need to maybe ramp up a little bit at coming back from their injuries? And what are you expecting from them in these last four?
I thought there were some good moments from both those guys. Obviously, when you're coming off injury, you're definitely only going to improve. So I think they'll be even better next week.
Kevin, just on analytics in general, because I know everybody uses them a lot throughout the league now, especially you guys. How much do you balance the analytics and the numbers over maybe having a young roster when it comes to making the decisions like going for two and all of that?
Yeah, I don't know if the young roster necessarily factors into that decision, Joe. I think every decision you make is based on, you can say analytics, but, how good the defense is on a short yardage, what their percentage is of stopping the other team. Is it statistics and use that to make your decisions. And then you look at the matchups and your players versus their players. So I think it's certainly a tool and it's information to take in, but I think there's so much that goes into the decisions when you're making them. The decision to go for two when you're down, to start the series at 14, that's also based on the plays you have available to you, the matchups, those type of things. So I don't think it's ever just a black and white picture, if you will.
And then just game Sunday, I think 230 receiving yards after the catch. It seems like Shadur, during his three starts, has been good about finding the open receivers and letting them operate in open space. Is that one of the areas of his game where you've seen progress too, where you've been able to get yards after the catch where maybe you didn't early in the season?
I don't know. I wouldn't compare it to early in the season. I would tell you when you talk about rack and those type of things, I think it's there's a lot of dimensions to that, but certainly the accuracy of the throw factors into it. When you put the throw where the receiver or the tight end or the running back doesn't have to break stride, that allows you to maximize your speed throughout the route and into the play. And then it's the receivers winning versus man. I think Jerry's route, his big touchdown was versus man. He won, and he won with a lot of separation. So I think it all factors into it.
Okay, thanks.
Just wondering, Kevin, now that you guys are officially eliminated from playoff contention, what's your confidence level that you have the infrastructure, the leadership group in place to make sure that these guys are going to be out there just fighting all the way to the end and playing as hard as they have been?
Yeah, we know it's in front of us, Mary Kay, and that's all that we'll focus on. We got a big test this week in Chicago. That's the most important thing in front of us.
Thank you. You hear me? I'm sorry. Kevin, when you guys broke down the 53 roster in September with 13 or 14 rookies, first-year players, how much of an understanding was there in the organization that this was going to be tough to win with that many rookies? And has your expectations overall been higher or lower than what we're getting here at 3-10?
Yeah, all I would tell you, Tony, is that the guys who are on the roster are guys that I trust, we trust. I don't get caught up in that type of thing, other than to say that these young players that we're counting on continue to get better, and they got the right attitude.
Yeah, and I guess it relates to what Tony just asked you, but given you're playing so many rookies, especially on offense in key roles, is it just a cost of doing business that there's going to be mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are in really critical moments?
I mean, in the sense that young players make mistakes, sure, but we trust our guys. These guys, part of making a mistake is you're learning from it and you're going to get better at it. I've told you guys many, many times, and this is still true, that this rookie class, especially the rookie class, because we're talking about them, they have the right attitude. They've worked like crazy since the moment they've been here. They keep the main thing, and that's what we'll continue to do. We'll just focus on the work and what's in front of us.
And I guess specifically after like the 2-point play with Quinshon, like what do you say to him when it doesn't go like you guys wanted it to go?
Yeah, I'll keep all those conversations between our guys internal, but we trust Quinshon. I trust all of our young guys, and we'll just continue to work at it, and that's what we'll do. Okay, thank you, guys.
Junior Brownbackers, the Cleveland Browns official kids club, presented by University Hospitals, Rainbows, Babies, and Children's Association with Cardinal Credit Union. It's back for season 2 for ages 4 to 12. Get your kid a season full of Browns memories with exclusive gear, experiences, events, and more. Visit juniorbrownsbackers.com to join today. The Joe Thomas half hour of the program is coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Find your fun Thursday night, 7 to 8, Tap Sports Bar, MGM Northfield Park. The Kevin Stefanski Show made Z. Gerard and Browns long snapper Rex Sunahara, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park. Time now for the Joe Thomas half hour of the program. Hoff, where do we find you on this fine Monday, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going? I just landed in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City, baby.
Home away from home for you, weren't you
Yeah,
there
that's
like a
where
couple
he's
weeks ago?
making movie magic. Tinseltown for
That's
us.
right. That's right. I was here like about a month ago, and this time I'm out here because young Alex Mack, my best friend from the league, he's getting inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame tomorrow night. So coming out here to support him and celebrate with him and the family.
That's awesome.
That's very
Congrats,
cool.
Alex Mack.
Do they tie anything else into it, Hoff? Any other, do they hand out any awards like for current players this week out there too?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure what else they'll be doing. I know that the Mack family's got a nice contingent out here, so we're going to be doing some stuff with them. But as far as at the actual award ceremony, ours was in New York when I got into the College Football Hall of Fame, and it was really just kind of focused on the guys being inducted into that Hall of Fame. But yet, I don't remember specifically. I bet Annie could probably tell you with more detail about if they gave out any other cool awards like lifetime achievements or stuff like that.
What does he think about? He went to Cal.
Yeah.
Now the defunct Pac-10, Pac-12. That's got to kill a guy like Alex Mack.
It's gone.
It's so sad.
Yeah, he's pretty sad, and Cal has been pretty sad for a while. And I think the sad part, really, for him, outside of like what's happened with the Pac-12 and what's happened with all those teams on the West Coast, is that there's just an apathy around all those college fan bases. They're not getting fans to show up. They can't get TV money. Nobody really wants to even play in the games anymore. And it's like, it's kind of withering, unfortunately. With as strong as Big Ten football, SEC, ACC has gotten, I feel like we've taken that energy and the mojo from the fan bases out there, and it's pretty sad when you're an alumnus. You always want to have pride in your university and what they're doing, and really out there with Cal, they're doing nothing.
To prove Hoff's point, the guy who replaced Matt Campbell at Iowa State came from Washington State. He was there for 1 year. The athletic director at Iowa State said he didn't even ask him what the money was. He just said yes. And I would have argued 5 years ago Washington State's a better job than Iowa State. They've won Rose Bowls at Washington State, they've been to Rose Bowls. Iowa State's never won anything of consequence. But because they're not in a league.
A first overall pick and a second overall pick.
Oh, yeah.
At Washington State.
Yeah, yeah. And
in our lifetimes.
And they just haven't, without being a league, you don't have a chance. We'll
give them our congratulations and our regards.
We will. It's a pretty heralded class. I mean, Nick Saban's going in, Urban Meyer on the coaching side, Michael Vick, Michael Strahan, Elodie Nada, of course, Alex Mack. I mean, it's a strong class. College football classes are a lot larger, of course, than the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But
there's like 40
a lot
people
of pretty
going.
Recognizable. Yeah, it's a big class. I mean, a lot of guys in college football, but a lot of big names. It's a pretty cool class for him to be a part of.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
the reason is it's a relatively new Hall of Fame, and so they have all of this catch-up work to do. They got to do some make goods.
Some make goods.
They have to do some make goods.
Well, the Hoff's been in for Años y Años.
Well, and of course, we were once told by someone here we couldn't call him the Hoff.
And we're like, no.
And we're like, actually, he's
can.
going to be a Hoff.
Yeah,
first
first
of all.
ballot.
Gold jacket,
Easy.
first ballot. And
Easy.
also, he already is.
Yep.
Just so you know, he already is a Hoff. Buddy,
That's right.
That's
right.
right.
Set the record straight.
By the way, Hoff, want to give a shout out to you as well, because you came in here. You were Meet Santa last week. Bo was able to enjoy it. And
oh, my God.
We had it on Saturday night with the great Dabo, my buddy in from Australia. And
yeah,
he was blown away. We declared the full blood Wagyu strip to be it's the world champions. It was
so good, Hoff.
It broke my brain, in fact, how good it was. It was incredible. So that was the winner of the night, the Hoff beef, and we did blind. I blinded it for him, so I had the taster, so they didn't know. No bias, Now I will say that I think visually you could, if you were paying attention to the scores, you could have picked it out. I think just on sight because it is
it's obvious,
a special looking, some special beef. But he was blown away. I sent Hoff the pictures. Hoff, where were you at? You were out and about doing something. Oh, you were at a wedding, I think.
I'm having a hard time remembering where I started the morning. In here.
I think this past weekend you were at a wedding for one of the guys on the farm.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
Our head cattleman, Hayden Connor, he's a baby. He's 22. Got married this weekend in Muscadet, just down the road from the farm, and we had the whole family there. It was quite a nice country shindig. But yeah, Z was sending me the photos.
Oh yeah.
And the thing that I liked, with this being a new thing for me, I'm like, hey, give me the unbiased, unvarnished feedback. I love the blind taste test. Tell me everything, right? Because we can change. We're trying to do better, just like as an athlete when I was playing, 1% better every day. And so getting that unvarnished feedback from you guys and knowing that the Hoff is still the world champ made warmed the heart.
A
couple Busch Lights.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Busch Lights.
That's
There's no doubt at all.
We did it too. We did I made it for the family and cut it up and tried, and the strip was unbelievable. I think that's where you really taste it.
Yes.
Is in that. I think that's where you can really tell the difference. It was really remarkable, Hoff. And the meat sticks are all gone. They're all gone. The kids sucked through those in 48 hours. So I'm gonna have to order.
What
a
did they think of that
those
apple
babies.
cheddar?
You never had anything like it. I mean,
No,
they
there's
just have
nothing
everything
like it.
the apple cheddar. It's such a delight. And the jerky, they love the jerky too. All of those things were winning. So, yeah, they will be staples, my friend. Hopefully, winning becomes a staple for this franchise at some point. It seems like we're a ways off from that now.
Transition, dude.
Let's go. Glasses half full, Hoff. Glasses half full. You had a quarterback make some throws. Joe Flacco had some throws in some games like this in 2023. Jameis had a couple of games like this last year. But this was a big spot for Shadur, and he played really well and made some massive throws in this one. And Hoff, what Z and I were talking about in the first hour is every week he gets a little better at something else. Like he takes the coaching and gets better the next week. I think it's a real bright spot for this team. What was your impressions of what you saw from him in start number 3?
I think it's safe to call this a breakout game for Shadur because, I mean, we've kind of seen that steady progress, which is obviously what you want. And I think the danger is he was a 5th-round pick, but there's so many people on the outside, especially, that still in their mind have him as like the number 1 pick. Like, well, yeah, he wasn't number 1, but he should have been. And so he's almost like graded and has expectations as if he's the number 1 pick, but he's a 5th-round guy. He's coming in the middle of the year. He hasn't had the experience playing with the ones, going against the ones in training camp. And so, like, it's all very fresh for him. And so to see the progress that he's making from week to week is really incredible. And I think it gives great hope to the organization. It gives great hope, certainly, to the offense. And to have a breakout game like this where he's doing more of the thing that people saw from him in college that wanted him to be the number 1 pick, which is when it's a big moment, he makes great decisions and he rises to the occasion. It's never too big for him. And I think that's the thing that probably more than anything made the Browns say, we got to take this guy. I know we already took a quarterback in the 3rd round and we got 2 first-round picks next year, but when you're a player that can rise above the situation and when big-time plays are called for in big moments, you deliver that raise the level of play of all the guys that are around you. Like, that's what all the great quarterbacks throughout history have always done. And that's what Shadur did in this game. And it was so fun to be able to watch that, to watch him progress and to grow and mature. And I know everybody else on the team maybe always wasn't pitching in, but to see a guy that had some opportunities and made the most of it when it was a big game for him and the game was on the line and he got what they needed, right? Like, I think back to like the Bradys and the Manning and the guys today, like the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, they get you what you need when you need it. And to me, that's the defining characteristic of a franchise quarterback, and we saw that from Shadur yesterday.
Yeah, and he was willing, Hoff, when you watch some of the best throws of the day, he was willing to stand in the pocket and deliver the football and take big hits. He was hit 14 times in this game, 14 quarterback hits the Titans had, and yet he was able to operate the throw to Fannin where he got absolutely crushed. It was one of the better throws you'll see in the league this week. It was one of the better throws you'll see, honestly, this year.
Absolutely.
What does that do for the guys kind of in the huddle and for this team to see him? And he did this at Colorado, but just take those hits, get back up, and just deliver the football and go about his business.
Well, I think it's so important because, right, you really don't have any pelts on the wall at this point when you're a rookie. And sometimes you come in as a guy who's very heralded from college, played with a lot of rookie quarterbacks that had great careers, that won Heisman's in college, and they come in and there's a little bit of like, all right, that's great that you did everything in college and you're, big stuff, but hey, you're a rookie right now. You're on the bottom of the totem pole, so prove it to me. Make me want to believe in you and to follow you, because that's what a great quarterback has to do. And he did that. And I think one of the ways you can do that is standing in there and showing toughness when it's necessary. When you know that big hit's coming and you have to deliver the football because the game depends on it and you're willing to take that hit, like that is the type of play that makes guys believe in you in that offense, that raises their level of play, because now all of a sudden you've built a belief in yourself as the quarterback and in those guys that are playing for you that are thinking, hey man, we got a guy right there. We better hold up our end of the bargain because he's going to do his. And I think, being willing in smart situations like that to take those big hits, to bounce back, to make those plays, that last touchdown run when nothing was available, to put your head down and run through contact and get into the end zone. Like, he's showing that winning is important, and that's the only thing that matters for him. And when you do that, that's how you get those guys to start playing as a team to get the most out of everybody around you.
Yeah, and you can see the belief. I just think the growth and the belief and all of it, like he's just getting better and better each week. I think that's really noteworthy with this team. And today Kevin announced, obviously, he's the starter for the rest of the way. What's next, Hoff? What do you want to see? And by the way, the competition amps up bigly. Next three are all playing for massive stakes in terms of the opponent. And starting with Chicago, obviously, as this competition amps up, and as the teams are playing for more of the opposition, what do you want to see as the next progression for him?
Well, I'd like to continue to see, obviously, the growth that we've seen across the board, right? He's not taking the sacks. He's not drifting in the pocket. He's quicker with his decision makings. He's not paralyzed when they're showing blitz. He's able to start to see the defense and make sure that they're in the right play, like all those leadership things, all those things that are really important for a rookie quarterback. But really what I'd love to see is just eliminate some of the big major bad plays, right? And I think that's a natural progression for a rookie quarterback. He had one amazing throw to Jerry Jeudy, that 60-yard touchdown or a 60-yard bomb. It was awesome, right? But then you've got a really bad interception where it was just shouldn't have been thrown, and I get it. As you're trying to speed up your progression and how you're seeing the defense, like you're getting a quicker trigger, and maybe sometimes that's happening before you really see the picture clearly. But what I would love to see is, as these defenses are getting tougher here with the final 4 games of the season, and they got a lot to play for, and it's going to be more challenging and a lot trickier, like just minimize some of those major bad plays and continue to do the things he's doing across the board. So, I mean, if he can do that and he can play not mistake-free, because that's not a fair assessment, but just continue to limit the number of mistakes he's making and do all the other things he's been doing, I mean, you're going to be feeling really, really good down the stretch of the season, because he's a fun quarterback to watch. He's a fun quarterback to cheer for, and he's making a great case for himself to be the franchise quarterback moving forward.
Here's the thing I liked, and Bo talked about it, that week-to-week improvement, stop running out of the back after the Ravens game, out of the back of the pocket. He's done a good job. He's climbing the pocket now pretty consistently. You've got to go ahead and be, willing to rip it over the middle of the field. You've got to be anticipatory and throw it. That was a big point of emphasis this week. We saw it. I mean, that ball to Jeudy is as good a ball as you're going to see. And so I thought that there was a ton of improvement that we saw, from him in this game. And it's very encouraging. These are big numbers. And down the stretch, 10 of 13 on those last 2 drives when you needed it the most. Yeah. I mean, that's real stuff. And he did a good job as a runner as well. I thought his ball placement was excellent. I mean, it was all the things that you'd really wanted and hoped to see. And it gives you, I think, a lot of hope if you're the Cleveland Browns that, man, maybe we've got our guy. How big are the next 3 games to you, Hoff, where you're looking at 3 teams that are fighting for their playoffs lives, the Bears, the Bills, and the Steelers? And, what do you want to see over those games that tell you, yeah, let's get this guy a tackle. Let's get this guy another stud wide receiver here in the first round next year. And let's let Shadur Sanders be the guy, get all the work, and let's see what he can become.
Yeah, I mean, these are huge, obviously, because he's set himself up where the table now is set, where if he plays great in these last 4 games, he's made a great case for being that guy next year and building around him. And the thing that I'm most excited for is that he's put himself in position. There's no controversy or conversation now about going back to Dylan Gabriel or doing anything else at that position, because he set the table. But you're going to have to see that steady growth. And I'm not wanting to be pessimistic at all, but I really want to see enough growth that it's a vote of confidence without a doubt. Yes, let's get him some more guys around him. Let's get him weapons. Let's make him the number one guy so he has all of off season, all of training camp to be that leader, to be the person that's running all the first team reps. The thing I'm nervous about is if he kind of goes sideways and then it's like not a clear and obvious answer if he is the guy or not. And as a 5th round pick, it's different than being a 1st round pick. 5th round picks, unfortunately, in this league, they're a bit expendable. And so you don't feel like you've already invested good money in a guy like that. So I really want to see him playing well. I want to make sure that their offensive line is able to protect for him and give him the time he needs to show us that he is that franchise quarterback.
All right, time for the Trench Report presented by Big Fig, the mattress made for more, crafted in Cleveland, just like our Browns. Offensive line, even more of a mash unit now. We've known about Teller and now Posick out for the year with an Achilles. Luke Whippler will slide in there. We knew that this was going to be a massive offseason for the offensive line anyway, Hoff. When you're in this type of a situation where you have all of the injuries that we have already, what are you looking for from that group here, especially in the next couple of weeks? Obviously, the run game blocking has been a bit of a problem here in recent weeks for sure. What are you seeing up front? What do we hope to see going forward?
Well, you lost your center, Posick, who was one of your better offensive linemen. Joel's still in there, thankfully, but then after that, you're dealing with all backups. And, our tackle play with Cam Robinson and KT Leviston has not been great. Wyatt's been out. So with Luke Whippler now moving in at center, you got a lot of fresh faces in there. And every time I've been in a situation like that where I've got a lot of young guys around me, a lot of new guys, it's like, all right, I understand that picking up the blitz is going to be a challenge. We got to do our best. I understand one-on-one pass pro is going to be a challenge. A lot of that is art. It's not a science. It's not something you can just tough yourself through or try harder to get better at it. Like, you have to be under control. You have to be focused. You have to know when to deliver the strikes and give them everything you got. You have to know when to be patient. Like, those are really tough things. But the thing you can control is how hard you play, how tough you play, how you smash somebody in the face, and getting back to being able to efficiently run the football with Quinshon Judkins, I think is so crucial, because then it doesn't put you in those bad situations where you have to sit back and pass protect with a group of guys up front that haven't been very experienced doing that and frankly are not very good at it. So I think figuring out, all right, we're going to run the ball. We have to be the most physical unit on the field whenever we're out there, and we have to hit these guys in the mouth and make them not want to come back in the second half. You can do that, and you can change and you can dictate the tempo, the momentum, the style of play from that defensive line if you're beating them up on the run game, but you have to be efficient, because if you're not efficient, they're not going to keep running the football. So for those guys this week, it's all about toughness. It's all about beating them up, smashing them in the face, and trying to impose your will on the defensive line so that your offensive coordinator has no choice but to continue to call run games.
What's interesting about this, Hoff, and this is something that I think people need to understand, out of the running backs that have at least 125 carries, and there's basically one for every team, there's 32 of them. Quinshon Judkins this year ranks 9th in yards after contact per carry. He ranks 7th overall in yards after contact. But like, to give an example, he has 700 yards after contact. He's rushed for 784 yards. Let that sink in. The other guys in the 700s, Derrick Henry has 724 yards after contact. He's got 1,025 yards. James Cook has 769 after contact. He's got 1,308 yards. James Cook, Derrick Henry, they don't even average as many yards after contact as Quinshon Judkins per carry.
Crazy. So
guys that are around him in terms of 700, they all have between 1,000 and 1,300 yards rushing, and here's Quinshon Judkins at 784. He has the highest percentage of his yards after contact in the NFL. What are you seeing? Because I know you talked about the mentality and all of that, but the fact of the matter is this guy does not get to the line of scrimmage often. In fact, he's getting on average 0.4 yards down the field before taking contact, whereas Derrick Henry's a yard and a half. James Cook is 2.2 yards on average before he takes contact. Most of the top running backs, it's well over a yard, yard and a half to 2 yards downfield. So what's happening? Because that feels really bad.
Well, it is really bad. I mean, the bright spot is, hey, we got this rookie running back, and he's breaking tackles, and he's making yards, and he's doing an amazing job. He's more than we expected when we drafted him. The downside is our blocking's just not been very good. There is obviously way too many free runners. There's too many missed assignments. There's guys that are putting their heads on the wrong part of the block, and they're allowing the defensive lineman to get off because, I always say that as an offensive lineman, our job is to get them 4 yards down the line of scrimmage, right? We can control the 5 or 6 guys that are in the box. And then beyond that, it's up to the running back and the receivers to make those blocks. But we have to get him to the line of scrimmage and get his feet through the feet of the defensive lineman without being touched to really have a chance. And so it's remarkable in good on how well Quinshawn is doing without not having any blocking. And it's remarkable in bad with how poorly the offensive line has blocked in the run game and opened up those lanes for a guy who clearly is a physical back that wants the football, that is the type of running back that you love to block for as an offensive lineman. And you want to see him showing him some more love by opening up some more holes for that guy, because imagine what he would look like if he was getting a yard and a half, 2 yards down the field on average before he made contact with anybody.
All right, Hoff, one of the things you used to say about, offensive line, they're like mushrooms, be in the dark, nobody say their names, all of that. I've come to the point now where that's all I want special teams to be. I don't want to talk about special teams. I just want them, because I feel like if we're not talking about it at the worst, it's neutral, Another blocked punt that, plays into what now is this whole 2-point controversy and all of these things. How can this keep happening week after week after week?
Well, I guess I don't have a great explanation.
No.
Other than to say it's unacceptable. Seen and not heard is how you want your special teams unit. I played there when Josh Cribbs was there, and we saw them a lot, and it was usually good things, right? Great returns, big plays, big hits running down on kickoff coverage or punt coverage. But, to have a unit that you expect to have no mistakes through the season, that's kind of like your goal. All right, we're not going to have any turnovers, and we're not going to allow any really big, long returns, and that's our expectation. It doesn't always happen. There's going to be a time here or there that, somebody comes free and you get a block kick, or somebody has a long return because somebody on the coverage unit leaves his lane. But to have it consistently happen, it's a travesty right now, and it's something that you have a hard time putting your finger on, because it's like it's almost hard to imagine that you could have so many busts on special teams when this is clearly something that they have to have been emphasizing, because it's been bad all year long, and it's cost us games, and it cost us another game on Sunday. And we talked about last time I was on how some coaches, especially defensive coaches, like putting their starters on those units because they can trust those guys, even though it wears them out a little bit more. Like, they're so important to not make those mistakes that you want to put those guys out there that are reliable. And clearly the guys that we have out there right now are either not being coached well enough or they're not executing well enough. And as the Bill Parcells, the great coach, used to say, both are a problem, and you have to fix it by either removing one or the other, because the combination ain't working right now. And unfortunately, the special teams unit cannot live like this any longer. It's not like they're trying fake punts and fake field goals and not successful. I mean, they're just trying to execute the basic stuff, and it's not possible. I mean, this is stuff that you should be able to do at the high school and college level, and we're consistently struggling with very basic things. And so, I mean, if I had to guess, okay, maybe communication's part of it. Maybe it's the preparation of the players that are in there, but you got to make a change and figure out, if that guy can't do it, we need to find somebody that can. And maybe that means putting in some of these starters and spending a little bit more time during practice. I get it. You got a lot of things to work on. You got a rookie quarterback on offense. You don't want to take time from his opportunity in practice to run our plays against the scout defense. But if it means coming out early or cutting out one of the team plays or team periods and emphasizing more special teams time on the field, like, they got to do it, because you can't just keep having these big returns and fumbles on punt return and then allowing block punts. Like, these are just things that can't happen once in a season, much less reoccurring the way it is this season.
If we started this talking about the fact that you're in Las Vegas to honor former teammate Alex Mack as he goes into the College Football Hall of Fame. You mentioned he's one of your best friends in the sport. What can you tell us? Is there a story? I guess maybe when did you realize that he was great, that he had this type of career in him that eventually gets him into the College Football Hall of Fame?
Well, I think from day one you realize that this guy has the attitude of a golden retriever, where it's like he's going to fetch that ball and he dies, or until the master stops throwing it, because that was his nickname when he was here, and then he went to Atlanta with Kyle Shanahan, and he was just the guy that was the ultimate teammate, right? He would have been the world's greatest Navy SEAL, because if anybody told him run through that wall, climb up and go kill bin Laden, like he's like, yes, sir, should I show up? Like, I've never seen Alex where he gave up because he was too tired or he didn't like what he was doing. He was just the perfect teammate in every respect. And I'll give you a brief story, but when he was a rookie, Eric Mangini was the head coach, and his way to punish players for false starts, for fumbles and things like that, was to make them take a lap, right? Of course, everybody hated it. It felt like it was high school, but Alex was like, all right, I'm going to take a lap, but reps are too important for me. And so I've never seen this before. I mean, the dude was running like a 55-second 400-meter dash in between plays because he had a lot of fumbles. He was having a hard time with the snap count, and so he was fumbling the snap a lot, the center quarterback exchange. But he would finish the play, and he knew, hey, I fumbled it or I screwed something up, and he would start his lap full speed. And fans that were at training camp would remember it, because it was like the attraction why people would come to training camp back then when he was a rookie, because he would run that thing like he was Usain Bolt coming around the field, and he would get back into the huddle and he'd be ready for the very next play. And it was just amazing to see that level of effort. And then on the next play, he'd be running 40 yards down the field, finishing his block. And so it was just an incredible level of effort he played with. He was so smart and cerebral. He understood technique, and he's a guy that at 320 pounds could do the splits. I mean, he had everything you want in the center, and that's a big reason why Kyle brought him to Atlanta, and then Kyle brought him to San Francisco, and he played 13 years and played amazing. And I forget what year it was in Cleveland, but the guy had appendicitis, played the game. The next week was the bye week. Then he had surgery, laid on the couch for 10 days, and then like 2 days before the game, they taped him up, and he went out and he played, and he never missed a snap. It was truly remarkable, just the commitment and dedication that guy had to his brothers on the offensive line, to his teammates, and to the game of football.
7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time second-team All-Pro, Hall of Fame, member of the Hall of Fame's All-Decade team for the 2010s. And his point right there, at the age of 36, plays his final season in San Francisco with Kyle, his only season he played with Kyle in San Francisco after being with him in Atlanta for 5, and he makes the Pro Bowl in his final season at the age of 36.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, man, enjoy it, Hoff.
Oh, and by the way,
go ahead.
Oh, thank you. One more thing as we're giving Alex his flowers. I remember Annie and I went down to the Super Bowl that Atlanta played in, obviously with
a broken leg.
Where they lost to the Patriots. The broken leg? Hit a broken leg. We went to dinner with him. We got in like Saturday Friday. So Friday before the game, and he was on crutches. We went to dinner with him. He's like crutching in the restaurant, and I'm like, dude, how are you going to play in like 3 days in the Super Bowl? Not like playing in the third game of the season against the Jacksonville Jaguars. No, we're playing in the Super Bowl. And he's like, well, they're just going to shoot it up, and I'm going to go out there and play. And like, jeez. God bless you, man. There are a few people that have ever walked the face of the earth as tough as Alex Mack.
Let me ask you this, Hoff, because obviously he's able to overcome it, and he's always there. Is he making his great return to Turkey camp this year? Because I know last year I think he had to be in like Ireland.
Yes. Yeah. His wife's from Dublin, and so he had to be out there. But he will be making his return. He doesn't have a choice, and I can't wait to bring him back because he's always one of the stars, right? Just like he was on the football field, he was always up for anything. At Turkey camp, he's your boy. He's always up for anything, and he never says no to anything. And I just love that youthful joy that he has, and he puts into everything he does in life. It's just fun to be around guys like that. He's not like Z and like you, Bo, right? Like, you just like being around those people that just say yes to everything and then just want to have fun. They're just there. Yes. We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Not
Let's
that fun.
Absolutely. Hey, man, enjoy it. Enjoy Vegas. I know that you will. We'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a great day.
All right, there he is, the Joe Thomas half-hour Hall of Fame beef. For your holiday needs, they're there for you on that. We will go around the AFC North, among other things, coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
I didn't know either. You guys are going up.
OBM, the preferred provider of copiers and document services for the Cleveland Browns. They'll tackle any size office at 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Time for the great clips. It's going to be great. Call of the game. Let's have a listen.
2nd and 10 with 2:57 to go. Sanders to throw over the middle. Judy has it at the 40. He's at the 25. He's at the 20. High stepping out of a tackle and into the end zone with a flip. 60 yards. Touchdown Browns.
Decisive with the football. When you go out there with the running back, you get a linebacker, as you pointed out. What does that tell Shadur Sanders? That it's man coverage. Jerry Jeudy beats his man, and the accuracy, it's the ball placement. It's hitting players where they can get the yards after the catch. They don't have to slow down for it. He leads them upfield. That was a beautiful ball, and folks, we may be seeing Shadur Sanders really start to take control of this job and this team.
All right. Was that the great Dabo?
Dabo was there, yeah. Dabo's,
with the high five?
Dabo's in the mix.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I will say,
I love that.
I will say we're very fortunate that we have the room in there, and Gibbe and everybody in there was so gracious to have Dabo in there. And we had, the Miz was in Vegas. We did not have the room to have Miz in Vegas. But Miz was in Vegas anywhere. No, we were not going to tell him no. But it's kind of fun. Some of those clips, like, they get to have somebody who's in there who's just like flipping out. I got to tell you, Dabo was so happy. Loved the experience so much. And, like, folks, just so you understand, when I reference Dabo, his name is Ben Dobbin. He is, like, legitimately the Jim Nantz of Australia.
Yeah.
Like, he is the number one caller, they call it. He's the Jim Nantz of Australia. So he's like, for him, this was super cool to be in there. But when's the last time you saw somebody as sad? I mean, his face towards the end of that game was like somebody had told Bootsy that Christmas was canceled.
Oh, no.
So he travels from Australia every year to see a game. He has not seen a win in person. And like, this was going to be it. This was it. He was sure of it. And he's such a big Shadur supporter. And for Shadur to ball out like that, he was so excited. But he was.
He called before the game. He goes, Shador's throwing for 4 today.
That's what he did. He said 4. He did get 4 touchdowns.
He got 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was.
That
was very cool.
He was sad. There's another clip that. We can't show that Nathan's girl was just as sad. And
I look forward to the backstory on that. Yeah, so that was a great play, though, and I think that's my takeaway from the game. Dude, is that the kids slung it.
Anticipatory, ball placement, the accuracy, the willingness to stand in the pocket and deliver the football, the ability to improvise. He did more as a runner for a guy that supposedly can't run. He did plenty good as a runner and was elusive. His eyes were better. His eyes were down the field. There are a couple throws that, you still want him to hit. Like Bond had his one a game where he got behind the defense, and that one he just didn't quite get it to him. But, this was a performance. Listen, I don't know. That guy right there he said it. This is where he starts to take control of this job and this team, and now he's the starter for the rest of the season. So, yeah.
All that you can ask for, you can't ask for anything as a 5th-round pick. All you can hope for is opportunity.
Yep.
That's it. He has his opportunity now.
Yep.
And what does he do with it? And if he plays well over the last month, then this organization doesn't have to look for a quarterback in the offseason.
Correct.
And that changes the trajectory of everything.
Yes.
And so that's what's in front of him. He's been given his opportunity. He's earned his opportunity. He's taking his opportunity and getting better each week, which is the thing that is the most bright spot for me, is that every week there's something he adds to it. So that tells you he's putting in the work. And then beyond that, his natural gifts as a thrower are starting to shine. And so now you've got 4 games here to leave no doubt that you're the future quarterback of this football team.
Absolutely.
That's the job, and that's the opportunity ahead of you. And it's all you can ask for.
And you have to just keep it going, because sometimes it's like guys who come out gangbusters, right, and then defenses adjust and take it away. But here's the thing. When you can put the ball where you want it at every level of the field, they can't take that away.
Yeah.
And so this is big, man. That was a big one. And if it can keep going, we are in a big situation here for the Cleveland Browns, where you're talking that this isn't just hope. This is we're on the road. We're on the road. And Shadur Sanders feels like he's put you in a position where you can say and believe that is a real possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels pretty good. I'll let you guys choose your own adventure. You want to do college football explainer, or do we want to do around the AFC North?
Let's do around the AFC North tomorrow with one thought.
With one thought?
Yeah, let's do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, college football, Nate is
we have
unhappy.
questions.
Okay, go ahead. What are you unhappy
College
with?
football.
You go ahead.
One, I'm unhappy
Okay.
that the 6th seed in this tournament is not even being coached by the guy that started the season as their coach because he's allowed to leave in the middle of it's absurd to me. So it's known that I've been unhappy about this.
Yeah, he's not allowed to leave. They said no, we're good because they don't want him poaching his roster.
Yeah, because he should be allowed to take the LSU job until
Of course, yeah.
January 19th at roughly 11 p.m. Well, knowing these college games after I watch one of those on
12:30.
Saturday, we're going to go and call that, 1 in the morning.
You like a break, don't they? They love a break. They love a 35-minute
It's too
Dr.
much.
Pepper thing.
Let
They
the
love
game
it.
happen.
How about the fact that they took a break while they reviewed the most important play of the game?
It was insane.
They weren't even on air for the reversal.
Here's another thing.
It's crazy.
Here's another thing. Dr. Pepper thing.
Yeah.
Unless you throw it like a football, you're out.
Of course, it's ridiculous.
You can't
By the way,
two-hand chest pass a football.
with all due respect to the great folks at Dr. Pepper, the Bootsy loves the Dr. Pepper. You're giving away $100,000, man. McAfee gives away $1 million on game day. Like we gotta
Every
up
week.
this up a little bit.
And you have to throw it like a football.
Yeah, you got to throw it like a football.
Yeah, there's none of that.
All right.
Okay. I'm unhappy
Okay.
that teams that have absolutely no chance of winning one game, let alone winning the whole thing, are in this tournament.
Do you want me to tell you why they are?
I know why. Well, yes, please.
No, do you know why?
I mean, I think so because conference winners have to be in, or antitrust laws, or nonsense.
So, in order to go to the 12-team playoff, they had to have every Division I conference. They had to get a majority approval. So, in that vote, the American had as much say as the SEC. So that's how the highest ranked group of 5 team conference champion got into the dance. The reason the second one got in, James Madison in this instance, is because of the ACC's absurd tiebreaker rule. Miami could not play for the ACC championship game. So instead, it was Duke against Virginia. Duke beat Virginia. Duke is the champion of the ACC, but is ranked behind James Madison. So that's how that happened. That's stupid, but that's how it happened.
It's so dumb.
Of course.
First of
That's how
all,
it
giving any conference other than the Big
Tulane
Ten equal
has-
weighting with the SEC, everybody else should be quiet and be
Well,
thankful
that's how
you're
it'll
included.
be going forward. But Tulane and Ole Miss have already played. Ole Miss beat the brakes off them like 45-14. The other one, James Madison going to Oregon, they're 21.5-point dogs.
That's why that was
Get rid of
another
it.
rule I had. If
Get
you're
rid of
more
it.
than a 14-point dog, you can't be in.
Yeah.
You're out.
All right.
So that's that. Okay.
That's why that happened.
We're making a TV show here. That's the reality of it. So here, I'm going to give you a good TV show. You get the 12 best teams in here, or even the best TV draws, right?
Yeah.
So Notre Dame is in. James Madison, you're out. Notre Dame, you're in. I'm going to go ahead and Tulane. I'm sorry, the Green Wave, love you. We're going to throw Texas in there for fun.
Or
Am I
Vanderbilt,
missing
maybe.
somebody else?
Maybe
Vandy,
Vanderbilt,
sure,
because
Vandy.
we're high on Vandy right now.
We're very high
for a
on
lot of
Vandy.
reasons.
We
We're
love
very
Vandy.
high. That's a great institution of public learning.
People
Be
are
something.
saying it is
People are
maybe
saying
the best.
Maybe the only place you'd ever want to go.
That's
only place anybody ever wants to go. Come on, let's
go, Artie. So that, and then what I'm going to do is create another tournament.
Okay, you want to like redo the whole thing. Like we can do all of that.
We
but
need
that's
an
gonna take more
8-team
time.
tournament that's
Yeah.
going to have the James Madisons and the
You can do it
whatevers and who are
16.
going to play.
They
and
already
they're gonna
have
love
it.
it.
NIT.
They have
it's
it.
the NIT of football.
They don't even need to have an NIT. They already have the 1AA teams play for their own tournament. They can do the same thing with those schools. The group of 6 can play for their own tournament and play
Yes.
for their own national championship.
Yes.
That's all you have to
Yep,
do.
there it
That's
is.
Small
Boom.
school and the big school
Okay.
championship.
Number 3, and now this one you need to explain to me.
Yeah.
What's going on with Notre Dame? So now it's like we're not in
Yeah.
here, so we're not playing in any bowl game.
Good for them, by
Good
the
for
way.
them. I agree with them for doing that. So here's what happened. This is the real truth of it. This is absolutely what happened. That committee had a choice. They could either piss off the SEC and Alabama and undermine the conference championship games, or they could piss off Notre Dame. And they chose to piss off Notre Dame.
Because they don't have a conference back.
Because they don't have a conference backing. Well, the ACC, they're in the ACC for everything except football. But they could not risk upsetting the SEC again, because the SEC is the one league, and trust me, I lived down there for a long time. If they just crowned a national champion of SEC teams, they would be happy. They don't need to play anybody else in their mind. So they could take their ball and go home and be fine with it. I don't think that they would, but they had a choice. They could either upset Alabama in the SEC or they could upset Notre Dame. They chose to upset Notre Dame. Now, if you're going to say, if the next thing is, well, wait a second, you can't penalize a team for losing its conference championship game. Well, hold on a second. You penalize BYU for losing their conference championship game. Well, yeah, but they're not in the SEC. And that's the reality. That the SEC and the Big Ten really run this thing, and there is no way that committee was going to undermine the conference championship games because the SEC still wants to play theirs, and there's no way that they were going to do that.
Notre Dame
it
got
is wrong.
jobbed.
Notre Dame's better than Alabama. Alabama's been leaking oil for a month.
Yes, okay. So here's what college football
But they were
Nate wonders.
never going to ever leave Alabama out.
What about the days when the majority of bowl games had nothing to do with anything?
Yeah.
But the pageantry and the kids get to go and they get their swag and they have this bonding experience, and it's a way for seniors or juniors who are leaving to close out their college career. There are guys on Notre Dame whose college career was just like abruptly ended. They thought they're playing for the playoffs. It's like, now you're not going to play college football ever again.
Well, because they don't want to go to Orlando and play BYU in the fill-in-the-blank Pop-Tart Bowl. A lot of them are millionaires. Like Jeremiah Love is going to go to the NFL draft. He doesn't want to. He's not risking his health to play in that game.
Notre
They're all
Dame's
being
AD was on
compensated.
with Dan Patrick today.
Bavacqua, I heard him.
And it was a great interview.
Yeah.
But he said, he goes, like, we're not going to have 4 or 5 of our best players.
More than that, probably. I'm
they're
guessing
not,
that
they're not going to play in the game anyway, so it doesn't do us any good.
That's why they need to get the right
bowls
teams in
have
here.
become the Pro Bowl.
Yes.
Because Notre Dame's not the only one. There's a dozen teams who bailed on
2 of them
bowls.
got fined.
Yeah,
in the
Iowa
Big
State
12.
and K-State got fined. The bowls are what happened to the Pro Bowl. The bowls used to be, before you could pay players, before everybody got so wealthy, the bowls used to be the reward.
Yeah.
Come stay at a resort, we'll treat you well, get a bunch of swag, play a game for fun against an opponent you don't normally see in warm weather. That's all gone. These kids all make a ton of money.
Yep.
There's no need for them to do it anymore, and the coaches don't see the value in the 15 practices anymore because their team's going to be very different the next year. It sucks what happened to Notre Dame. But
16 team, best 16 teams.
I actually don't. I think opposite. I think 8.
Well,
I
if
don't
you're
think
going to
you
get
need
rid of the
16.
riffraff, that's fine.
I just think the best 8. If you have 3 losses, you shouldn't be contending for a national title. Like, it's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough.
All right.
So I think they could have. It's going to go where you're at. It's going to go 16. They got to get the calendar right. I know Notre Dame is really chesty right now about we will never join a conference. I don't know.
And then I read.
don't know.
So Notre Dame has a thing now that going forward after this year, if they're ranked in the top 12, they're automatically in.
There's a memorandum that says that, but that's only if it's 12 or 14. If it goes to 16, it wouldn't include that. The reality is, as it stands right now, and this is really hard for Notre Dame folks to hear, Notre Dame almost needs the ACC more than they need them. The ACC isn't benefiting at all from having Notre Dame, and Notre Dame needs the ACC for the scheduling partnership for all their non-revenue sports.
Well,
otherwise, they would have
why
no
doesn't
place
Notre
to play.
Dame
But then
just
Notre
join
Dame's
the
AD
Big
today
Ten?
comes out and says there's been permanent damage done.
I know, but where's he
and he
going
tried
to go?
to run it back at the end, and I'm like, I think
Where's he
you
gonna,
Why don't they go to the Big Ten?
Because they don't view themselves that way. They view themselves above the Big Ten, and that goes back to Michigan not letting them in the Big Ten 100 years ago.
Times have changed.
Yeah, they have. So
that would be a good school to have in the Big Ten.
it'd be great. It would make sense for everybody.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it on 4 Downs because I know we're up against it.
Yeah.
But
I'm
the
not
fact
happy.
but the fact that Ohio State is playing New Year's Eve, I am angry about.
Dude, how about the fact that Ohio State is playing New Year's Eve in Dallas against likely Texas A&M?
Yeah.
They didn't want to put him in Miami because they thought it would be a disadvantage to play in Miami against Miami. Are you kidding me? That's a Buckeye home game. Texas A&M. If it's Texas A&M in Dallas, that's Aggie. That's Aggie land.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I don't understand that at all.
Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're playing New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused your injury, call their injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. I got the Chargers tonight. Who do you got? Real quick, Chargers or Eagles?
I got the Eagles.
Right.
I just am not sure about where Herbert's at right now.
All right, there you go. Thanks for listening, everybody. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet on 850 ESPN Cleveland.